Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Purpose Summit. I'm Sue Erda. I'm your host for this event, and I am one of the publishers at Powerful You Publishing. And I'm so honored to present to you these amazing co-authors of the upcoming book, Women Living on Purpose. It is coming out on June 29th. I have read the whole book, every single chapter, and the 20 authors in here are incredible. Every story is so, for me, very inspiring, very empowering, and there's some great tools and things that you will learn in the process of reading this book. So I'm really excited for you to read it, and I'm really excited for you to meet all of these authors on this summit while I interview them. So today I'm really excited to be talking with Jami DeBrango-Palumbo. That's a big name, and I love it. I'm so excited to be talking to her and presenting her to you. I'm going to read a brief introduction of Jami, and then we will hear from her. Jami DeBrango-Palumbo is a native New Yorker who now resides in Southern California with her husband, Joe, and their two children, Luca and Sienna, and their fur babies, Dante and Enzo. She is a Senior Vice President of Client Services and Operations at Foundation Medicine, Inc., a molecular information company dedicated to transforming cancer care. She is an energetic leader, passionate about embracing her strengths and leveraging them for the greater good. Previously, Jami was Global Head of Operations for Sequencing, serving patients all over the world, putting her strength in heels to action. After a tragedy hit close to home, Jami co-founded Kristen's Fund, which focuses on awareness, education, and prevention of domestic violence. And Jami, I'm happy to talk with you today. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much.
Me too. I'm so excited. This is great. I love your topic. Strength in heels. Life is short. Wear the heels. That is so cool. It's so funny because personally, I don't wear a lot of heels, but I absolutely am there with you in the sentiment. That's awesome. So, you are a big proponent of curiosity, I know, Jami. Tell us about that. Like, how did you lean into that?
Yeah. It's funny. I've always been super curious about life, about different things I didn't know. When I reflect, especially 20 years ago when the Strength and Heals situation really happened with me, I was so scared about what other people thought about me. And I would lean back, even though, many books at that time were saying lean in, lean in. It's a lot easier said than done. And when I think about curiosity, it comes in a form of observation and exploration for me. So I found confidence in actually really physically when I was wearing my heels. I'm only 5'2". I'm if that on a good day. And I felt myself physically leaning in and pushing myself to say, you've really got to find that natural curiosity that you have, be inquisitive, ask questions. And when this situation happened, I just said what I needed to say, and it changed my life, and it changed the whole mindset. And so me leaning in physically, figuratively, helped me embrace the situation, and it shaped my entire career.
Let's talk about this. I love that. So strength in heels. We could talk about shoes, but let's talk about specifically what you mean. What does that mean, strength in heels?
It's definitely it's a mindset. It's something where I actually have looked at what heals actually stands for, and there's a tip sheet that if anyone's watching, Sue and her team are able to give to everyone. H for the heals means honor yourself and honor others that are going through their own journey. The E is empower. I cannot, stress this enough, especially, young, early, 20s. Give yourself the authority and the power to do something. Don't wait to ask for permission sometimes. The other E, embrace, hug it, accept it. You are who you are. L, lead, take your initiative. Create your own narrative. Don't let others create that for you. And when I was thinking about Strength and Heals, it was this mindset of really ensuring that you set a goal for yourself that no one else can create for you. And the S in heels is success. Accomplish what you set out. Aim on purpose, which is what I love about the title of this book, Women Living on Purpose. And for just so long, I cared so much about what other people thought about me. And the strength in heels for anyone watching is, don't let others look at what you look like on the outside and define what they think you should do. So for me, I loved operations. I loved STEM. That was something I really enjoyed. But when people looked at me, they said, you should be in commercial, you should be in retail, you should be in HR. It was what people looked like on the outside. And that moment of me saying, I'm not wearing any makeup, but thanks for asking, and you're going to need to get used to my heels, just created a whole new mindset for me.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that you do that. And the heels thing, right? So I also think about heels, and you said you're 5'2", so it makes you stand taller in a way, like
100%.
literally, right? But it's a feeling place. It's this thing that you can lean into yourself. So I love
Yeah.
that. It's so cool. And I personally, I'm a huge fan of acronyms. So heels, I love that.
Thank
Good stuff.
you.
Yeah. So I asked you about curiosity in the beginning too. Like,
Yeah.
how do you define curiosity, and how has your personal curiosity played a role in your own achievements?
Yeah. It's played a very active role. And as a mom of two, as you mentioned earlier, it's shaped who I am, and I hope to shape my children in that way too. I define curiosity as exploration and observation, and a major part of learning. I think everyone should want to learn about something and be curious about something. And it could be anything. There's no definition around what curiosity means. It's funny because I also love to watch people, love it. So we were in Disney not too long ago, COVID safe and all. And my kids were going on the rides, and I sat there and I said, I just want to watch people. I just want to sit here and be curious. And I sat in the moment. And my secret to curiosity is there's no expectations. Don't set any expectations when you're being curious, because you will stifle. You have to explore things so that you can thrive for knowledge, not because you want to benefit from something. And if you can go into that level of curiosity, I think you can get more out of it than you ever would had you set those expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Expectations kind of like say, okay, this is what I'm looking for, so you miss everything else. So
Exactly. You're not seeing it. You're not enjoying the moment for so long. I got to do this. I got to do the next step. I got to be this. I got to be the mom everyone wants me to be. I got to just take a breath and just sit in your own curiosity with no expectation.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, and I'm a big people watcher too. I love doing that. I love at the airport. I had to wait 2 hours at the airport when I was going to visit my mom recently, and I kind of make up little stories about people, which is great because it's kind of fun. Do you do that? I love it.
Love it. I love that. Everyone thinks I'm a little crazy. So I'm so glad I have a partner, curiosity partner.
I'm in it with you. Absolutely. All right. Well, so Jami, we know about your version of what strength in heels means. How can someone else find their own version of strength in heels?
Yeah. You know, taking what I had said earlier about the heels part, like the embracing, the honoring, the empowering, the embracing, the leading to success. I think ask yourself your own questions. If you were really to step back and say, what if no one had any preconceived notions of me, what would I do? What would I be? What would I want? Again, with this strength and heels mindset, where you kind of you lean into it, you step up and you say, this is what I really want, and speak on behalf of yourself. I think that would probably be the biggest thing that I would say for others. Don't let others speak for you.
Yeah, that's great. So it sounds like you're kind of encouraging people to be their own authentic, unique selves. And you did that when you said, hey, look, I'm going to wear the heels and I'm going to wear the makeup, even if it doesn't fit in operations per
Yeah.
se. You did that. So how did you do that? And how can somebody else find their own power that way?
Yeah, it's interesting, and I don't know how others get, but when someone tells me, and this is since I was a child, if someone tells me no, or you can't do something, I actually physically start to get warm. There's something in my body, and I think you have to think, for anyone watching this, when something happens to me or someone says something, does my physical body, do I actually react? And if so, what way am I reacting? And in this particular case, again, I thought I was going to be fired after this. Like, I'm not kidding. I went to HR, I was crying. Like, I think I'm going to be fired. And I found power in my own uniqueness of I literally felt like someone just zapped me. Someone, like, I am getting warm, and just what came out of my mouth was so authentic. And a lot of people in those moments count to 10 or they do, I'm not saying don't count to 10, but what I'm saying is say what you need, say how you feel, in a way that the person on the other side was shocked, but in a good way, like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, gosh, I didn't even know you weren't wearing makeup. And yeah, I am gonna have to get used to the heels. You're right. Now in the moment you're thinking I'm going to be fired because he's my boss and all this stuff is happening, but really don't put pressure on yourself. Breathe through the experience and just say, you know what, I need to say something. And in the end, when I thought I was going to be fired after, I kept thinking to myself, I have to look at myself at the end of the day in the mirror, and was I authentic to myself or wasn't I? And it worked out for the best, and everything was fantastic. And I was the first woman in many areas in an operations organization. So I tell people to just be a bit persistent, think how you react your own way, and find your truth.
Yeah, I love that. Now, how many years ago was that? Where it sounds like that's when you really just stepped into it. 20 years ago?
20 years ago. Yeah, it was 20 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting, right? We talk about that, like we think about, okay, who was I then? And we've all seen those kind of questions that say, oh, what would you tell your younger self if you could tell your younger self something? So what would you tell 30-year-old Jami now? You could tell her
Yeah,
something.
I would tell her to not try so hard. I would tell her to just be yourself, to not worry so much about what others think of you.
Hmm. And
That's
what do you think that would have done for you if you really believed that at that moment?
I think it would have built confidence. 20 years of experiences, 20 years of being able to speak your own truth, and to try that curiosity and test it out, and live in it and breathe in it. I think it just builds confidence. So if someone had said, Jami, it's okay. And even, later on, when I was offered the promotions, the other offers, etc., it was building confidence in myself that I wish I had had maybe when I had graduated college. If someone had said that, it was, I'm originally from New York, very competitive, and I don't think we should be that competitive. I think we should uplift each other, not especially especially women. I think we need to support each other, not be against each other, or be in conflict of each other.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was in New Jersey for 35 years of my adult years. So like I get it. It's kind of the same kind of mindset, New York, New Jersey, that thing. It's like, yes, we're very competitive there. We talk fast. We do all these things that, like in the rest of the country, it seems kind of foreign. So I agree with you. We're all in this together. We need each other. Women lifting each other up is a beautiful place for us to be.
What a world. Can you imagine back in that day? Thankfully, when I was crying to HR, my partner in crime was like, yeah, you should have said that. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm gonna be? She's like, no, this is someone's got to say it. You're just the one that happened to say it, but we're all thinking it.
Yep.
And I wish someone had said that to me earlier in my life, because I probably would have maybe been a bit more confident to say something.
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? Shoulda, woulda, coulda, and
Yeah,
who knew,
exactly.
so I think everything happens for me, perfect timing, divine order. It's just all what it's supposed to be when it's supposed to happen, and that's not just saying, oh, I'm just going to be a doormat or anything, but it's saying like, I do believe, I have faith that everything, it lines up for us.
Yeah.
So you decided at some point you wanted a career change. You wanted to do things differently. Tell us a little bit about that journey, how you decided, to make those choices. Did you ever, when you decided to make your career change, did you ever regret that decision, or did you think you should have done it differently?
Oh my God, that's such a great question. Oh, you're gonna make me reflect. First, no, I've never ever regretted that. Thank God, to be honest with you, really, really thankful about that. My journey has been extraordinary, especially in changing the face and image of what people think about working in STEM or working in operations really looks and feels like.
So tell
Um,
me what STEM is.
yeah, STEM is really science, technology, engineering, math. I think now they even call it STREAM. They've added some other areas, but it's really this more technical area of work, of life, of business, and many years it's been a male dominated industry, especially in engineering and science in general. And having support and learning that, I used to support those groups, and I had such an affinity for them. I mean, you know, lab personnel, our scientists, they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And people who make the medicine that we take on a daily basis, or now in the world that I'm honored to be in terms of sequencing, these people work all the time, and I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to shape the way the future of that business was. And I had all these ideas, and I love people. I love my teams. And when I was early in my career in human resources, it was like, you can influence and you can communicate, here's what I think you should do, but they're not really your organization. And I wanted to make that transition because I wanted to make the changes that I wanted to feel and see with those teams. And I think that's what makes great leaders as well, if you can actually roll up your sleeves and really get to understand and respect those. And that was early in my career. I just had this passion, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. What would you say was your greatest asset at that point?
Listening, curiosity, what we talked about earlier, but listening, not being afraid to roll up my sleeves. I wasn't always the first person people chose to. It was always like, oh, if you have a super technical degree, or if you have this pedigree, then we're going to go to you, or we're going to ask you the questions. And in an evolution, science is an evolution. You have to be curious at hypotheses. That's like how everything starts. If you look at it from a people perspective, so my biggest thing for me was, have you looked at it from a different angle? And I always tried to look at it in a balanced approach around the technical, kind of the what you're doing, and then how are you doing it? And how does that differentiate you in the industry?
Yeah, terrific. Sounds like you were really into it. Like you loved it. You just immersed yourself in it, and you decided to add this new perspective to, and probably
Yeah.
people were looking at you like, huh, what's she saying? Probably it wasn't all like peaches and cream and,
No.
roses and all that. So tell me, what did you tell yourself on those really tough days?
I told myself life is short, wear the heels. Yeah, I leaned into it. I would tell myself, you know what, baby wins, just little things where I would come up with an idea and start to see it actually take off, and you know things that became ideas became corporate structure, became so large. And then when I started to work internationally, that was probably my biggest part. So whether it was Switzerland or Germany, or in the last 4 years, South Africa, and to be able to make that mark and see your ideas come to fruition, or hear people seeking out that curiosity, was definitely still near and dear to my heart, and still going. I'm still going.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. You know, and what you just talked about, like, so there's all this stuff that you did along the way and all these things, successes you had along the way. And a lot of people talk about that, but they don't talk about how they celebrate it. Tell me, how do you celebrate your successes?
Yeah, you could ask my team. I do weekly messages, and I always talk about celebrating small and celebrating big. Um, and the celebrating small is just something. This actually has been a celebration for me to be able to tell my story. Um, because I just don't know. Is it going to resonate with people? I don't know. And this has been a huge celebration for me. I will say over the weekend though, I did go to a winery. And I did get a nice little glass of wine to celebrate. And I also, buy the shoes. So I'm even in Zoom days, you wear your heel. Celebrate those. I also remember my first Kate Spade bag, back in the day. So whatever puts a smile on your face. But for me, it's definitely to be with my friends, my family, and I'm, COVID moving behind us now. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited about that.
Awesome. Well, I'm celebrating you too, and I'm so grateful that you decided to join this project and be a part of it, sharing your
Thank
story in the book. I love your story. I've read all of them and I love yours. It's really inspirational, especially for I would say, especially for everybody, but for those women who are thinking about a career change or do I fit here? It's about, what is it for them and what do they want to do? And then it will give them courage to move forward and do that. So I appreciate your story so much. And that tip that you mentioned about your acronym for the HEALS, HEELS, that is in the free ebook that everybody that signed up for the summit, they got that. So it's in there. Everybody read that. It's in there. Print it out for yourself. You'll love having that with you. And also, Jamie, thank you so much for being a part of this. I really appreciate your energy and your spirit and your story.
Thank you so much, Sue. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, I have a Facebook page, Strength in Heels. It's a group of empowerment. So we talk a lot about the strength and leaning in. And then also on Instagram, Strength and Heels 1. So you can definitely follow me there as well.
Beautiful. I love it. That's great. And Jamie, again, thank you so much. And do you have any final words for the listeners?
Just go out, just like life is short by the heels.
Awesome. Just do it, baby.
Just do it.
Heels, do it. Lean in. All right. Well, thank you so much. And listeners, thank you. Thank you for being here because I know that you are doing this, listening to this because you are on your own journey of purpose. You're living into it. You're wanting to live into it more. You're trying to figure out maybe how to do it. You're wanting to be inspired. So the things that will help you are those tips in that free ebook that you got, all of these interviews, and the book, Women Living on Purpose, which is available on June 29th, which is launch day. And on June 29th, if you come to our website, womenonpurposebook.com, we will guide you to Amazon to the exact page where you can get that book. You can buy either the paperback or on launch day, 99¢. We'll be selling Kindle for 99¢. So that's really great. And when you bring your receipt number back to the website, our webpage, you'll be able to get access to 35 or more. Actually, we're counting. There's going to be more gifts from our partners and from our authors. And you will love all the gifts. You will love the stories. You will love all of it. So give yourself that gift of buying that book on launch day. We will remind you about that. So thank you all again for being here. Thanks for your continued listening to the summit. And gosh, do something beautiful for yourself today and lean in. Strengthen heels, wear the heels, buy the shoes, wear the heels. All right, everybody, have a great day. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.